A fortnight after the horrific Pahalgam attacks, India has responded. Operation Sindoor, conducted between 1:05 a.m. and 1:30 in the morning, targeting 9 specific sites in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Now, it is important to note that the Indian armed forces operated from Indian soil, from Indian airspace. They did not cross over the line of control, but it's also important to note that India did not target Pakistan's military targets, military infrastructure or civilian infrastructure. Now, here is why it's important to highlight what these 9 sites are and what is the significance of these particular sites. The list of locations targeted by the Indian forces. Let's start with Bahawalpur, located about 100 kilometers from the international boundary. This is the headquarters of the Jaish-e-Mohammad, and this is where Operation Sindoor focused its efforts on. Now, what we are hearing, and this is from Maulana Masood Azhar, the chief of the Jaish-e-Mohammad, he is acknowledging, as per news reports which quote him, saying that 10 members of his family have in fact been killed in the attack launched by the Indian Armed Forces under Operation Sindoor. So the Jaish-e-Mohammad was hit in Bahawalpur. That was one of the key sites targeted by the Indian Armed Forces. In Muridke, 30 kilometers from the border opposite Samba, the Lashkar-e-Toiba camp was impacted. Now remember, the LET has been perpetrators of violence, perpetrators of terror activities over years, targeting India. In fact, terrorists of the 26/11 Mumbai attacks trained by the Lashkar-e-Toiba, linked with the Lashkar-e-Toiba, and so that was also a site that we saw being targeted by the Indian Armed Forces under Operation Sindoor. Gulpur, 35 kilometers from the LOC in the Poonch-Rajouri area. The roots of the attacks in Poonch on the 20th of April 2023 and the attacks on innocent pilgrims traveling in a bus in June of 2024 go back to the terrorists that were trained, housed in these camps here, and that is why this particular site has also been targeted. Another LET camp in Savai, which is 30 odd kilometers inside the Tangdar sector, again with roots going back to terror attacks, whether it was Sonmarg in October of 24 or Gulmarg in 24, and of course the Pahalgam attacks as well. So that particular site being hit also. Bilal camp, again a Jaish-e-Mohammad launch pad, and I already explained to you the reasons why the Jaish-e-Mohammad has infiltrated terror activities, perpetrated terror activities across the length and breadth of the country. Another LET camp in Kotli, 15 kilometers from the LOC opposite Rajouri. This LET bomber camp had the capacity to house almost 50 terrorists. So that camp in Kotli also being hit as part of Operation Sindoor. Barnala, another camp there being impacted 10 kilometers from the LOC opposite Rajouri. Sarjal, the JEM camp being hit there by Operation Sindoor as well, and the Maimuna camp, which is about 15 kilometers from the international boundary near Sialkot, was another camp that was hit by Operation Sindoor. As the Indian side made it clear, India has responded to the terror attack mounted by Pakistan and Pakistan-affiliated organizations. In fact, the Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri saying that we gave Pakistan an opportunity to act to dismantle the terror infrastructure operating out of Pakistan, but since that did not happen, India was forced to act, India was forced to retaliate, and that saw the genesis of Operation Sindoor. Now, what is also happening at this point in time is that there are widespread closures on the Indian side of airport infrastructure for civilian activities. So, Srinagar, Amritsar, Jamnagar, many airports across the country at this point in time are restricted for civilian purposes and being used only for military activities and military purposes. The cabinet also met this morning and, of course, congratulated the armed forces for going through with this surgical strike, so to speak. And of course, there is preparedness across the country. The mock drills are currently underway as well to ensure that if there is a response from Pakistan, and we've heard comments coming in from the Pakistani establishment saying that they will decide a response based on a time of their choosing, a time of their choice. And so India must be on guard, must be on vigil. In fact, not just on the borders, but even as far as cyber threats and cybersecurity is concerned, the government is monitoring what's happening on that front to ensure that we are ready from any possible cyber attack as well. We will, of course, keep you updated, but this is the rationale for why the Indian Armed Forces decided to strike these 9 sites, these specific 9 sites that are not linked officially to the Pakistan military and are not linked to any Pakistan civilian infrastructure as well. These are homes, hosts to terror organizations and terror camps.
Thank you for watching CNBC TV 18 and do follow us on all our social media platforms for news, updates and more.